This week, the NASCAR Cup Series heads to the Richmond Raceway for the Toyota Owners 400. We welcome back the short track package for what is more than likely going to be a 3-hour snooze fest, but unfortunately this is the track we're at, and because of that, I'm going to be giving you guys my predictions for who I think is going to win, as well as drivers who are going to perform better, and then also looking at a parlay that I like. Very quickly, we must touch on the fact that Richmond could become a strategic race if the final stage plays out green, and we could possibly see drivers trying to make it on 2 stops versus 3 stops because of the tire wear. Another big factor with Richmond races, I don't expect a lot of cautions and chaos, but who knows, we've seen crazier things happen at this track before, so with that out of the way, let's get into the predictions. The first driver that I'm predicting to win at Richmond on Sunday is none other than our favorite 2-time champion, Joey Logano. Now I know what you might be thinking, why Joey Logano? He hasn't been consistent all year. Let me tell you something. In the past 4 next-gen races at the Richmond Raceway, Joey Logano has 3 top 10s, and in the 2022 summer race, he led 222 laps before finishing 6th. Joey Logano has won at Richmond before, and I think he can do it again based off of his recent runnings with the next-gen car. It's an even number year, and I expect Joey Logano to finally get on track and win his way into the playoffs and put all this bad luck from the first few races behind, so look out for the 22 on Sunday. The next driver that I'm predicting to possibly win on Sunday is the number 19 of Martin Truex Jr. In the last 4 next-gen races at this track, Truex has 3 top 10s and an 11th place finish. Like Logano, Truex has multiple wins at this track. In 3 of the last 4 next-gen races, he's led multiple laps. Last year we saw a resurgence out of Truex, winning multiple races, and I think he can do the first of many races this season in a Toyota, in the Toyota Owners 400, so watch out for Martin Truex Jr. Following the previous 2 drivers I've selected, my next driver has also won at Richmond, and he is the most recent winner, and that is the 17 of Chris Buescher. On top of the win last year where he led 88 laps, he also finished 3rd in 2022. His other races in the next-gen car at this track are pretty lackluster, but he did finish 2nd at Phoenix with the same package this year. Maybe Buescher goes back-to-back at Richmond, so I'd keep my eye on him. The 4th driver that I'm keeping my eye on as one to possibly win is the number 11 of Denny Hamlin. Just like Truex, he drives a Toyota, and if there's a script for one of these Toyotas to win the Toyota Owners 400, he's one of them. In the 4 next-gen races, Denny Hamlin has 3 top 5s, including a win in 2022. In 2023, he finished 20th in the spring race, but he led over 70 laps. This is Denny's home track and one of his best. I watch out for the 11 to win his 2nd race of the season. The final driver that I'm keeping my eye on is Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace was a strong contender early in last year's Richmond race. He led 80 laps before falling to 12th place. Now, Bubba only has 2 top 15s in the last 4 next-gen races at this track, but I just have this weird itch in my head that he could possibly win, and even if he doesn't, I could see him maybe getting a top 5. So those are the drivers that I like to win. Now let's look at some of the drivers who I think are going to overperform at Richmond compared to the rest of the season. The 3 drivers that I'm predicting to have better runs at Richmond versus the entire season are Austin Dillon, Carson Hocevar, and Josh Berry. I'll touch on each of these very quickly. Austin Dillon has been having a pretty poor season, let's not lie. But in the 4 next-gen races at this track, he has 2 top 10s. I'm going to mention the 2020 night race at Richmond, where he got out and led a bunch of laps early and looked like he had an opportunity to win, but fell short. Now obviously that was in the old car and package, but he does get around Richmond pretty well. I expect Austin Dillon to have a top 15 and maybe even crack another top 10. Moving on to Carson Hocevar, I don't have a lot of data on him racing in the Cup Series because he's a rookie, but he did win the truck race last year at Richmond. I feel like Carson Hocevar can be a bit more aggressive with his driving style at this track, especially with the tire wear. I expect Carson Hocevar to run as high as 15th place and no lower than 20th. The final driver that I expect to perform better than the previous races is the 4 of Josh Berry. Last year's Richmond race, he finished 2nd after starting 30th. Although the last time the 4-car won at Richmond was with Kevin Harvick, I feel Josh Berry can match that performance. Also, I'd like to note how he had a strong run at Bristol, which was another short track. So now we move into the portion of this video where I talk about the parlays that I like, and this week I actually like 2 of them. The first one I'm going to talk about is pretty simple. A top Toyota paired with a top Ford. I like Joey Logano to be the top Ford, parlayed with Bubba Wallace to be the top Toyota. $10 on this can win you $1,000. I think I'm probably going to put 5 on it. Now we're going to move into the big parlay that I do every week, and that's about 5 legs. And we have Denny Hamlin over William Byron, Martin Truex Jr. over Ty Gibbs, Josh Berry over Austin Dillon, Brad Keselowski over Tyler Reddick, and then Chris Buescher over Kyle Larson. So if you do this can win you about $180. Again, these odds are pre-practice and pre-qualifying. Just like this video is uploaded before all this stuff happens, so stuff can always change, so adjust accordingly. I also forgot to point out that this is going to be on DraftKings this week, as Caesars doesn't have a lot of legs for some reason. Usually I like to use them for NASCAR, but this week I'm going to roll with DraftKings. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Who do you think is going to win on Sunday? I'd love to hear all you guys' opinions. If you agree or disagree with me, love to hear it, love to talk about it. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.